it's another one of those issues where they've just not quite got it right. I'd be quite happy to sacrifice my warden at the end of Dragon Age Origins. More than happy to do that. I thought that would be a fitting end. But then if you want to play Awakenings and the warden's dead, you have to play with the default settings. You can't import your save, which again I think has Alistair as king. I've got really bad. I've got a thing about Alistair being king, haven't I?
So you've heard, I hope, how I'm going to be king of the crown.
But yeah, you can't import your decisions, even though your warden's died. You can only do that if your warden's alive. But then if your warden's alive, you don't really get closure, because no matter what happens, you just kind of go wandering and that's it, you disappeared. Because obviously there wasn't voiced, and like all the future games now have voiced protagonists. If you've kind of got it in your head of how they sound, and they don't sound like that if we were to bring them back, it would give you a bit of a disconnect.
Greetings. Charmed, I'm sure. It didn't work!
But I would still like proper closure. I suppose if you marry Honora and become the king consort, or the queen consort, well, no, you can only do that if you... Oh no, you can marry Alistair, can't you? I think there is a bit of closure there. With them saying that, yeah, they're doing well, sort of thing, even though you don't see him again. But I think it's just the option that you have the baby with Morrigan, and then when she turns up in Dragon Age Origins, she's like, oh yeah, he's a great dad. If you go with Liliana, then I say he, obviously it might be a woman, but to me it's usually he. Your warden kind of goes wandering, looking for a cure for the calling, which then, I don't know, it just, to me, it feels like, well, it's not really it's a bit wishy-washy, I think. And I think it would also ruin your experience of Dragon Age Origins if it turns out not to sound how you'd want them to sound. Another big point is, games like these, unlike Baldur's Gate, where you're creating your character from scratch, so you're giving them the personality you want, you're giving them, pretty much the backstory you want, and then you're creating your own stories from scratch. With games like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, you're stepping into somebody else's character for a short period. Yes, you're making them own, but like Shepard is an established character already. They already have a history. Yes, you can pick it, but they've already got a history that you weren't part of. So somebody like the Warden, if they come back and you're not in control of them, pretty much like Hawk from Dragon Age 2, when they appear in Dragon Age Origins, you get that sense of disconnect then, because it's your character, but it's not your character, because you're not in control of what they say and what they do, and so it's almost like you're kind of jumping into their life for a little bit, and then you're jumping out, a bit like Quantum Leap, I suppose. So yeah, they've got that disconnect with, like, if they brought the Warden back and you wasn't in control of the Warden, are you going to have that negative experience of like, well, that's not my Warden, they wouldn't say that, or they wouldn't act that way, or when I played Origins, that's not how I imagined them to be. So yeah, there's kind of that instance of keeping this character from returning. Probably a good reasons not to to ruin that experience of the player.